Hi guys, Russell from Homebrew Republic. Welcome to another brew review. Today we're checking out the Mangrove Jack's Lucky Goat Pale Ale. There were two main things for me today. Number one, I just wanted to keep it simple. I didn't want to get elaborate with recipes. I just wanted a really nice, quick, easy, basic brew to get on that was going to give me a nice finished product. Number two, a lot of the brews I've been making lately have had citrus-based profiles, particularly coming through from the hops, and I really wanted to get away from that. I wanted to look for something either fruity or with some floral tones that I could bring into the beer and have something different. So the first thing to do is have a chat about the kit itself, the Mangrove Jack's Lucky Goat Pale Ale. I've never brewed this before, it's my first time. There's not much on the packet, but in terms of what I can find online, the brew is described as being a gold ale with a white head, pleasant malt aromas, soft fruit undertones, malt sweetness with a hint of vanilla, and well-balanced bitterness. Sounds pretty good to me. Now the other thing with this kit is it is a cold-filled pouch. So cold-filled pouch, cold-filled packaging technology helps to retain the unique malt, flavours and aromas of the kit. Now if we look at the back and what it's telling us, Mangrove Jack's beer pouches use cold filling, nitrogen flushing technology. Not sure what that means, but what it does is ensures the malt remains fresh and full of flavour and aroma. And it's saying here this gives us the opportunity to brew a higher quality beer than what we would get from a traditional canned kit product. So in theory, better quality malt, better finished product. If you've watched any of my other videos, you'll know that I prefer to use liquid malt extract over dextrose. It gives us a smoother finish, a little bit more body and a nicer mouthfeel, and that's a 1.2 kg packet of liquid malt extract, and it's of course unhopped. I am going to dry hop this brew, and for our hop I've chosen the New Zealand Nelson Sauvin. The hop itself is described as a dual purpose hop, being suitable for big punchy ales or aroma driven lagers. The hop is described as being at home in New World style beers, so I'm expecting something a little edgy and with a little uniqueness to it. It is described as being considered extreme to some, so what I'm going to do is dial back the volume of hops I use. I'm only going to use around about 50 grams in this brew to make sure I don't overcook it and don't go too far out there. The flavour profile of the hop is described as giving characteristics of fresh crushed gooseberries, so I'm expecting something quite fruity and I'm expecting something with a little bit of tang to it. If I go back to the kit, the flavour profile for the kit was described as having soft fruit undertones, so what I'm trying to do is align that flavour profile and build on those fruity undertones and bring them up a bit further. In terms of process, we're going to keep it real simple today. I'm going to get this brew mixed up inside the fermentation vessel. We're going to pitch the yeast. I'm using the factory yeast, so not a specialty yeast today. The ideal temperature range for fermentation is 20 to 25 degrees. I'm in spring at the moment and my ambient temperature is holding perfectly at the bottom end of that temperature range, so I'm not going to be using temperature control. For our hops, we're going to pitch our hops in two phases. The first phase will be 25 grams, which I'm going to pitch on day 4. What we're doing, introducing that a little bit earlier, is giving a longer period of time for the characteristics we're looking for, both in terms of flavour and in terms of aromas to transfer into the brew. I'm going to pitch the second phase of hops, which will be another 25 grams, so we've got 50 grams in total, and I'm going to pitch those on day 8. And what we're doing there is, yes, we'll get some more flavours come through, but we're starting to build up the aromas which are going to come off the top of the brew. Last step of the process will be to add finings to clear the brew up. I always cold crash and then we'll bottle. So all that said, the last thing to do is get this brew on, and then I'll see you guys on the other side for the taste test. Cheers! Alright guys, here we are. We're in the garage, and I did actually turn the fridge on to bring the temperature of the brew down. So we're now sitting at 25 degrees. I actually have another brew on at the moment and it's holding constant at 20 degrees. So the recommended temperature range for this brew is 20 to 25. I am going to pitch the yeast now. Here we go. And intentionally I wanted to put it in while we were up the top of the range to give the yeast a chance to, or to help the yeast activate. But I do expect the temperature to naturally sort of drop down over the next 24 to 36 hours to around that 20-degree mark by itself. I did mention that I was using the standard yeast that came with the packet. Bit of a trick for young players. The Craft Series pouches have a concealed compartment on the inside where that contains the instructions and the yeast and the hops. There is no compartment on the inside, and so I had to go looking for the yeast, which is pretty much glued to the bottom. So trick for young players: if you lose your yeast, in the case of these pouches, it'll probably be glued to the bottom. I do, just having thought about it now, I wish I had kind of put some effort into finding a specialty yeast for this brew, but nothing wrong with the factory yeasts. So we'll see how this one goes. So, going to get this lid on. As I said, we'll leave it alone on day 4. I'll put on the first round of hops. Day 8, second round, and we will go forward from there. Cheers, guys. That's day 2, ladies and gentlemen, and fermentation is on. Welcome, guys. Here we are on day 4. So as we can see, fermentation is underway and has been pretty active. Hey guys, welcome back. We are currently on day 8. Let's have a bit of a look-see. It's looking pretty good. I actually just put some in that little cup there, and when you get the light in the right place, there you go, you can kind of see it's pretty cloudy at the moment, but it has a really amazing colour, like a nice light golden colour. And in terms of, now on day 4 when we put the hops in, so what I originally said we would do is that we would use 50 grams of hops, and then I would loosely put 25 grams in on day 4, 25 grams in on day 8. So faux pas on my bit, just because I was being loosey-goosey. On day 4 what you saw me do was tip what I thought was around about half the bag, quarter of the bag into the brew. Now what I did was just before I went and weighed what was left in the bag, and that means that I was able to work out what I put in, and it turns out I didn't actually put anywhere near quarter. I put 10 grams in, but just looking, like having done a little taste test on what's here and where it's at, I've actually made a decision to pull back the amount of hops we're using. So we've already put 10 grams in. I am still going to put some more in, but what I have here is 20 grams. So what that means is in total we're putting 30 grams in. So here we go, second phase. And the reason I've chosen to just pull it back a bit is I just had a little try of what was in that glass, or that cup rather, and it's already really nice. It's got some really nice, at the moment, subtle fruity tones to it, and I'm just conscious to not over hop this. I'm thinking back to the caution of the hop, that some people can find it quite out there, and I also don't want to create a massive hop forward flavour or hop forward character, I want to try and keep it sort of nicely balanced. So that's it. Change on the fly. We're now down to about 30 grams of hops in total. That is round number 2 in. So what I'm going to do from here, we're currently day 8. I am going to leave it alone for 2 days. I'll check the specific gravity, so it'll be on day 10. I'll check the specific gravity again on day 11. I think fermentation will easily be well and truly done. For the record, we've been holding absolutely perfectly at 20 degrees Celsius, so in a really nice spot. Now, assuming gravity holds on those 2 days in the same spot, on day 11 what I will do is add a packet of liquid findings to the brew. I'll leave it alone for 24 hours and then I will turn the fridge on and cold crash. So in total that would be probably about day 13, so it will have been 14 days in total in here. As always, I'm going to bottle and then I will see you guys in around about 5 or 6 weeks after that for the SafAle taste test. All that said, I'll catch you then. Cheers! Hey guys, welcome back to the official taste test of our Mangrove Jack's Lucky Goat Pale Ale. So, a little bit of a different spot today, sitting on back deck, but here it is, bottled, chilled, ready to go. Nice little pop, bottle, glass, pour. So I've got to admit, I've been pouring like an amateur on these videos and I never have this problem when I'm normally pouring for myself. It just seems to be when I'm recording. But this one here as well, I think it's over carbonated very slightly because it's just pouring off a massive head. But I'll see if I can keep it under control. Alright, so I do think this is just over carbonated a little bit. The way around that is I would just pour off into a jug, let it settle, but you know, that head will calm down in a couple of minutes and you're fine. But first things first, that colour is absolutely spectacular. So we've got a really amazing clarity, which we always do from those findings and from cold crashing, but that colour is just this beautiful golden colour. To be fair, I probably should have had a look at an SRM chart before I jumped on, but it's definitely going to be nice and low, like, I don't know, 3 or 4. It's an absolutely amazing colour. Yeah, that's well overcarbonated. Apart from the overcarbonation, to say that I'm happy with this beer is an understatement, especially considering it was one that I basically threw together as a quick recipe. So, aroma. What I love about the aroma is it's this, it's just a really fresh aroma that jumps off the top. It's certainly led by the gooseberries, which come from the hops, but it's really nice. I will start talking about flavour, which I can do while this still settles down. Okay, this is now, see, I think it's 8 weeks. This is now 8 weeks in the bottle. It wasn't doing that overcarbonation earlier. That's only really developed in the last probably a couple of weeks. So when I was drinking this earlier, I had my first taste at 4 weeks. It was pouring really nicely. What I would say about the flavour is the, I think I said this earlier, I found in one of the reviews that the hops can be really polarizing, and I would agree with that hands down. I don't think I said this, but one of the comments I found in one of the reviews is that the hops can give a flavour that can be compared to a Sauvignon Blanc. And when I first tried this at 4 weeks, that was exactly what I thought. I was like, oh my god, I'm drinking wine beer. I'm not saying that's bad, it was definitely different, right? But that gooseberry note coming off the top, it was a lot more profound and a lot stronger and very, very distinctive. The last time I tried this was a couple of days ago, and like I said, this is now 8 weeks, and that gooseberry flavour has really, really calmed down a lot, which it always does, right? Your hop flavours will settle down. I find normally around that 8 to 9 week mark they settle into, you know, they've dialed back and they've settled down, and they are what they are now to move forward. So I would, if I was doing this again, I would, for me, this hop is a use very, very sparingly hop. I would not want to be using the Nelson Sauvin hop heavily unless I had something to really offset that gooseberry taste. Now, behind the gooseberry, and this is why I love this kit, and bear in mind I've never used it before, but it's just full of really, really nice subtle fruit flavours. Nothing massively distinctive, not for me anyway, but really, really nice. So you sort of get this gooseberry hit in the front, followed by this really nicely rounded mix of subtle fruit flavours, and it's awesome. So for me, I'm definitely going to come back to this brew and do it again as a recipe. I can already tell you now what I'm thinking. Man, this is not settling down. Okay, so definitely want to stick with the kit, and I want to use a craft yeast, and the one I'm thinking of is the SafAle S-33. And the reason that I want to use that is it's particularly good at bringing out fruity expressions. The one thing I will do is reconsider what hop I use with this brew. If I was to use the Nelson Sauvin again, I would dial it back even further. I don't know if I would use it in the recipe. And to be fair, I'm a bit unsure. This is the one piece I'm going to have to think about. I could go nice and classic with something like a Cascade, bring in some citrus, but again I'd just keep those tones real subtle. I would like to find something fruitier, but preferably not tropical. Yeah, I'll have to do some thinking. So I'll keep you updated on that one. That's pretty much it. So apart from the fact that I still haven't shown you me sipping this because it's not calmed down, I'm stoked. It's been a really nice beer. Despite the over-carbonation now, it's been really nice to drink. It tastes incredible. The other thing I really liked about this is the taste is really, really clean. There's no off flavours in it, and there's certainly no kind of lingering flavours in the mouth. I tried this with a couple of people, took this around to a buddy's house. His wife saw it, she commented on the colour, said it was an amazing colour. Shared this with another good friend of mine who particularly liked it. Yeah, he was very complimentary towards it, and actually he tried it over the weekend, so he probably would have had one that was slightly over-carbonating like this, and he was still complimentary of it. So he was impressed with the flavour, impressed with the colour, and really enjoyed it. So all in all, great brew. Like I said, I'll be coming back to this and trying to make a proper recipe out of it. I'll be looking at the SafAle S-33. I'm going to stick a light to keep the nice golden colour, and I'm going to think about the hops that we use to go with it. So all that said, guys, cheers, take it easy, see you soon.